Look away, look away, look away, look away. The show will wreck your evening, your whole life and your day. Every single episode is nothing but dismay. So look away, look away, look away.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the podcast entitled Couch Potatoes Unite! Exclamation point. This is a podcast based on a blog of the same name because we're about as famous as Count Olaf, maybe, and need the name to prove it. I'm the blogger in question and the self-styled chief couch potato. My name is Kylie and I love TV. If you feel the same, keep listening and or checking out the blog at couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com as you're bound to find some common ground or something you like. For Couch Potatoes Unite, we're all about the wonders and the unique long-form storytelling of the small screen. CPU, exclamation point, hopes you've been following releases of brand new episodes of the podcast on Wednesdays, as well as new blog entries on some Tuesdays, and as always, we have several more new episodes on the way. Because the panelists and I live lives behind our podcast, the episodes are published once per week. Subscribe to the blog or the podcast via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and via Google Play to stay on top of brand new episodes. Episodes already published discuss a variety of shows around the water cooler, including but not limited to How to Get Away with Murder, Gotham, Once Upon a Time, Supernatural, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., New Girl, The Vampire Diaries, The Originals, Sense8, Orange is the New Black, and the DC television universe, including Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and Supergirl. Plus, new episodes are in the works, including revisits for Doctor Who, Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, and the Marvel's Defenders panel will return to discuss the Defenders crossover miniseries. A final visit with our Broadchurch panel to say goodbye to the mystery drama from across the pond. We'll be launching new panels covering Grace and Frankie and The Good Place, and because we look back at shows now past, we'll be looking back at one of our most popularly requested panels ever in the life of this podcast, Friends. What's more, CPU also goes live. We've been live from the bunker, comedy outlet Mondays at Dog Story Theater, and Grand Rapids Comic-Con. And we're planning more live appearances and other cool stuff, so make sure you like us at our Facebook page, our Twitter, follow us at CPU Podcast, our Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite, and or our Pinterest at CPU Podcast, or subscribe to the blog, our YouTube channel, our iTunes channel, our Stitcher Radio channel, or find us on Google Play. In the meantime, if you don't hear your show in this podcast format, fellow panelists and I still write reviews, and we're always seeking new panelists. So if you have any interest in joining the discussion, say hello by finding us at any of those outlets I've mentioned. At the very least, stop by and leave us a thumbs up, comment, or review. We like feedback! Just keep the unfortunate stuff to yourself. Constructive criticism is not always unfortunate, for the record. Today's panelists and I are starting a new series focusing on another Netflix original series, and really they should give us all free subscriptions considering that CPU covers their shows so much. I digress. As much as I love TV, however, sometimes others love certain TV way more than I do. Also, in case you haven't noticed, I moderate a lot. And also, in case you haven't noticed, we have some very loyal CPU panelists who appear on a lot of our panels, probably because they love TV too. Well, today, one of our most frequent panelists takes the moderating mic once again because, in my humble estimation, his excitement might quite possibly, for the show we are about to discuss, exceed mine. So it seemed like really a good opportunity. Yes. And I'm happy to contribute as a panelist today. You might have heard our moderator's voice on several panels, including Doctor Who, Orange is the New Black, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, The X-Files series, The Marvel's Defenders series, Broadchurch, Supernatural, Gotham, the DCTU series, the Sherlock series, and the Buffyverse series. And he co-moderates our American Horror Story series. He will be moderating our ongoing coverage of today's show selection, which specifically is the Netflix series Lemony Snicket's series of unfortunate events. With that said, I'd like to welcome back Nick to the moderating microphone. Take it away, Nick!
Thanks, Kylie. It's real sad to hear all the shows that I watch.
That isn't even all of them.
And some of those panels are about multiple television shows. Anyway, we are here to discuss a series of unfortunate events. It is an American black comedy drama television series from Netflix and developed by Mark Huddis and Barry Sonnenfeld. Based on the children's novel series of the same name by Lemony Snicket, it stars Neil Patrick Harris, Patrick Warburton, Molina Weissman, Lewis Hines, K. Todd Freeman, and Presley Smith. When a mysterious fire kills their parents, the Baudelaire children are placed into the care of their distant relative Count Olaf, an actor who is determined to claim the family fortune for himself. Following Olaf's failed attempt, the Baudelaires set out to elude Olaf and uncover the mystery behind a secret society from their parents' past. The first season, which premiered on January 13th, 2017, consists of 8 episodes and adapts the first 4 books of the series. The series was renewed for a second season in March 2017, intended to consist of 10 episodes that adapt books 5 through 9 of the novel series. And it was renewed a month later for a third season, which is expected to adapt the remaining 4 books. The second season is scheduled to be released in early 2018, but no specific date has been set. Welcome, panel, to the discussion about a series of unfortunate events. Like Kylie said, my name's Nick. Let's go around and introduce ourselves. Just tell me your name, how you came to watch the show, and what kept you watching. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Thanks.
I'm right next to you.
Logical.
Right? I tried. I'm Kelsey.
Hi, Kelsey.
Hi. I started watching this show, I think because I saw that Neil Patrick Harris was going to be in it, and I like him, and I was excited. And also, I figured it was something that we could watch with our kid, which we have, and that's been fun. And was that all the questions?
That's enough.
Great.
There will be more.
Great. I'm done.
Welcome, Kelsey.
Thanks.
I'll go next. I'm Selene.
Hi, Selene.
Hi, Selene.
Hi. And I started watching a series of unfortunate events, mostly because I was a huge fan of the movie. Which is ironic to say because initially I really disliked the movie because the movie wasn't enough like the books. But, you know, after you watch the movie and it's all you have for, 10 plus years, you're like, well, I don't know, I really like the movie. And then I was like, they're making a TV show, so of course I had to watch it. Yeah, also because Vanessa can watch it. Vanessa is Kelsey's kid and my soon-to-be stepdaughter, so yeah, there you go, guys.
Which also explain dynamics rather handily.
Yeah!
Just in case you two fight.
We don't fight.
Jen, would you like to go next?
My name's Jenn. I came across the show, like Kelsey said, big fan of Neil Patrick Harris. I haven't actually read the books, but I'm still on a wait list right now, actually, at my library to get the books, because I really want to read them now, actually, after watching the show. And might be a little early to say, but I'm really excited for season 2.
Kristen, would you like to go?
Well, yeah, since you called me out.
We might do that.
Even though there are no dynamics.
That's right. There are no dynamics, even though Nick and I fight like brother and sister, but we are not related.
They are on a lot of panels
We are on
together.
a lot of panels together. So if you've pretty much heard Nick's voice, you've heard mine. I'm Kristen, and like Kelsey and Jen, I love Neil Patrick Harris. I love him so much. He's one of my favorite humans on the planet. So when Netflix announced that they were adapting the book series and Neil Patrick Harris was attached to star, I knew that I was going to watch it, even though I haven't read the books. I still haven't read the books, and I should. So that's how I came to watch it, and I really liked it. It was great. I was homesick in January after it premiered, so I binged it on some sinus infection medication, so it may have liked it a little better because I was in an altered state. But I liked it, and like Jen, I'm excited for season 2 and 3.
Hi, Kristen.
Hi.
Me?
Yeah.
All right.
Process of elimination.
Okay. Well, I already said I'm Kylie.
Hi, Kylie.
Hi.
Hi, Kylie.
Hi. And I came to watch a series of unfortunate events because Nick basically said, can we do a series of unfortunate events for the podcast?
I hounded you.
You did a little bit. I have never read the books. I'm a little bit older than everybody else on the panel, so I think that's part of it. It came out after I might have wanted to read the books. But I did watch the movie with Jim Carrey and Meryl Streep, and I sort of enjoyed that. It was all right.
Meryl Streep was in it?
Yeah, she was Aunt Josephine.
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't seen the movie. Sorry.
I have it.
Okay.
We can have a viewing
Okay.
party after, guys.
Even though we're all here in our pajamas.
Sleep over. Let's do it.
So, yeah. So I watched the movie, and Nick told me to watch the TV show, and I kept watching it because I'm in charge of this podcast.
Oh,
So that's what happened.
that doesn't bode well.
Foreshadowing.
Wah, wah.
All right. Well, Nick here. I watched the show because Netflix basically told me about it, and I like Neil Patrick Harris, so I gave it a try.
Oh yeah, I do like Neil Patrick Harris.
Mhm.
I should be remiss not to.
Does anybody not like Neil Patrick Harris?
Sure, there's some people out there.
Communists.
Fair.
Sorry, that's like a weird
Fair.
like inside joke. That's not even my inside joke. No, it's
It's
your
still
inside
relevant.
joke.
It works.
It's an inside joke with Selene's family that I stole right now.
It's yours now, because it's on a podcast.
Yeah.
Exactly. Copyright me. I guess. Yay.
All right. So I have not read the books, nor did I see the movie, but the movie made me interested in the books, but just I never got around to reading or watching the movie. But this being on Netflix just made it they make it easy to watch their shows.
It's true.
They do.
If it has nothing to do with the show you just watched, Netflix usually throws theirs in. You might like this, too. They're usually right.
You can't whisper.
Oh, no.
Don't you know how this works by now?
No. I don't listen to the podcast.
Oh no.
You're not supposed to say that in front of her.
So, the next step is our standard CPU rating scale. So, I'm going to have everyone rate their interest in the show based on these character descriptions. So, do you watch the show because you care about the Baudelaire children and want to find out exactly what happened to them? In fact, you have taken notes and searched for clues to aid with your investigation, like Lemony Snicket. Are you fascinated by the show and can't wait to tie your hair back and figure out how all the pieces of the show will fit together, like Violet Baudelaire? Did you enjoy watching the show, but it made you more interested in the books? In fact, when you finished watching the show, you had to find the nearest library and read all the books in the series from cover to cover, like Klaus Baudelaire. Were you skeptical of the show at first and watched with the occasional side comment, but by the end of the show you enjoyed devouring it as much as Sonny Baudelaire enjoys debarking a log? Did you only have a passing interest in the show and check in on it just enough to help you get your promotion? You also didn't have too much time to invest in the show because, of course, it is banking hours, like Mr. Poe. You hated the show and the Baudelaire children. You would rather spend your time starring in a play or staring at yourself in a mirror. In fact, you went so far to hide that you were watching the show that you wore a different disguise every time you watched, like Count Olaf. You watched the show because your boss made you, and you basically just do whatever the rest of the group does, like any member of Count Olaf's acting troupe. Or you didn't watch the show because you're dead, like Beatrice.
Aww.
Should we go in the same order?
Sure. I have to hijack this question for two things. Number one, it's my favorite character, question on any podcast I've been on. It was very long.
I'm sitting right
Sorry,
here.
Kylie. Yours are very good, but this one was my favorite. I just felt like it worked really well.
Okay.
For
It
this show.
lent itself very
Yes,
well.
yes.
For this very genius question brought up by our chief couch potato.
And yes. All hail the Kylie.
the Kylie.
The Kylie.
Oh, no. Never mind.
It's a thing now.
You started
It's a
it.
thing.
And so my second comment, I just don't know when I'm ever going to be able to say this, except for right now, because I think that I started like Lemony Snicket, and then maybe sort of graduated towards Poe, and now I'm Lemony Snicket again. Like, there was a slump for me in the middle where I was like, I just gotta watch this because I'm on this podcast now, and I have to see how it ends. And then the end of season 1, I was like, damn it, why isn't season 2 out yet? I'm like back in, but my hijacking is that I watched 7 episodes of the show before I realized that the guy playing Lemony Snicket was not John Hamm, and he was the guy that plays Kronk in Emperor's New Groove.
And other things.
7, and other things. I forget his name. He's wonderful.
Patrick
Warburton.
Thank you. But I
He
literally,
was Buddy on Seinfeld.
definitely
He was the
thought-
Tick.
The Tick, yeah.
definitely thought that he was John Hamm until I was watching The Emperor's New Groove, and I was like, who does the voice for Kronk? And then I looked it up, and I saw he was credited in Lemony Snicket, and I was like, what? And my mind was blown.
He had a slight, what am I looking for? Existential crisis.
Epiphany plus.
It was weird. I was like, they look like twins. And then I looked up, Google image search and showed Selene, and I was like, look it! Though, because of his costume, I think, and also the mannerisms that he uses in this show were very much like John Hamm in Mad Men, but campier. And I really thought it was him. The end.
7 episodes out of 8.
Yes. Now you know. That's all I can think of is the old PBS
The more you
thing.
know.
The more you know, whatever. Or no, now you know was Bill Nye.
Yeah, now you know it's Bill Nye.
Anyway.
Alright.
I started out a Lemony Snicket and then kind of progressed to a Klaus. Because, like, the more I watched it, the more I was just like, I don't remember. Like, I haven't read these books since... I didn't finish them all either. Because I was reading them as they came out, and then there was just a big enough lull in between one of the books. I don't even remember which book I ended on.
I thought you said you ended on the middle.
The last one I officially remember reading is book 5. Like, that's the last one that I consciously remember enough of it to be like, yeah, I could give you a basic plot summary.
So you know what happens next.
Ish.
See, I don't.
So then, you know,
I
watching
never read
this
the
series, I was just like, I need to reread these books. Because I need to, remember what's going on, what's happening. And I'm also somewhat of a Mr. Poe, and not on purpose. It's just, I seriously have a day job that tires me out, and we'd come home and we'd watch it with Vanessa, and
She
I'd
fell
pass out.
asleep during like 2 episodes 6 and 7. She slept through the whole thing, and it was not the same day. It was 2 different days.
It's not my fault.
Sometimes you get too tired to binge.
I wasn't even binging.
It was
like
one
5
episode.
minutes. 5 minutes into the
5
episode.
minutes into one episode, she was asleep.
I finished them. I went back and rewatched them. She's fine. I got this. It's just.
So you were mainly a Lemony Snicket, a little bit of a Klaus, and then you dipped into Poe.
Yeah. Nick's judging you.
It's not the show. It's not the show. It's any show, honestly. And it just so happened that was what we were binging at the time.
So when I first started the series, which I think I managed to finish it all, it was either in, I think it was a weekend, if I remember correctly. Like, it didn't take very long. When I started off, I was definitely Lemony Snicket, and then towards the end, I became, I'd say, Violet, just because, at least, like, working with theater and working backstage, like, I like seeing how things get from, like, point A to point B, and how things, like, all fit together within like the show or whatever. And for that, I feel like for this show, I'm kind of the same way too. I want to see like how everything like ends up coming together.
All right. Well, I'm gonna jump on that train. I'm also a Lemony Snicket.
And
Yes, yes. There is an and. There is an and. If you listen to other podcasts, you know that normally I can't pick just one. I have broken that recently, but there is an and for me. So Lemony Snicket and Klaus. Even though I haven't read the books yet, I really want to read them, and I'm a huge reader. So any series that's based in the book, I kind of want to read the book too. So I'm only limiting myself to 2. I won't say that I'm also Violet, even though I am, but I'm only going to stick to 2.
all right.
Didn't she kind of
I think
she
she just did.
That's okay. I'm not judging you. Nick is.
Yeah, he does all the time.
That's true.
Yes.
And here comes Kylie
And
to
here-
derail the train.
I know. Everybody's got a pooper, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
That's
why
why
we
we
invited you.
I don't know what that's about.
You've never
It's
heard
a
that?
song, Nick.
It is?
Yeah.
Father
It
of
is.
the Bride. Just watch Father of the Bride.
Wow.
You'll
Yeah.
understand.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
I was probably 8 when I saw Father of the Bride,
Yeah.
so yeah.
So, based on how the descriptions are written, I would actually fall between 2 of them. And that's basically Sunny and Poe.
Figured you'd pick half of Sunny.
Yeah, I would pick half of. I do not enjoy devouring logs and debarking logs. I don't have that sharp of teeth. But I was skeptical of the show, and I did watch with the occasional, or maybe less than occasional, said comment. I also only have a passing interest in the show because even though I watched the movie, I didn't love the movie. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I'm now a Lemony Snicket convert. That's not what happened. I enjoyed sort of the pastiche of the movie, and in the same way, I enjoyed the pastiche of the television show. I like, the visual look of it. I like what they're doing with the costumes. I like kind of all the technical elements. But as far as, and check in on it just enough to help me get my promotion, well, I mean, I'm already the chief, so what you want? I don't know. But I watched it basically because I was going to be on the panel. I found it repetitious. What? Repetitive, whichever word is right. And yeah, but I liked it, but I can't go past like. So I'm between Sunny and Poe.
Okay.
Yeah. I was nice. Come on. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
But
I'm
you
not
don't
that.
love it.
I don't love it.
And that confuses me. I rate it as I am a lemony snicket. I feel like I might be a little bit of a Klaus, but I haven't read the books yet. So, I guess I'm not. But maybe when the show's over, I probably will. Also, it's really hard to read when you have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. It's easier to just have the TV on, and that's that.
And subtitles, too.
Yes.
Yes.
Subtitles.
So you're reading.
Yeah, you are reading.
That's true. Which is not the books. Books on tape.
Well, I mean, yes.
That's
First
we
off,
have-
that's how I listened. That's how I read a lot of them, actually.
That's what I need
growing
to
up.
do.
Audiobooks
Revelation.
are awesome.
Our trip this summer, we listened to Harry Potter 1 and 2.
I hear those are worth listening to on tape, whether
Yeah,
you've
they're
read the
great.
books or not. All right, one last bit of business. Maybe we can go through this quick, because I do want to get your star rating, just because I want to see where exactly Kylie will play. So,
1.
is it
No.
is it a 5-star, which means I have to watch everything? Holy smokes! Kylie did weird hand gestures there.
Jazz hand.
Yeah, jazz hands.
How ironic that you use holy smoke.
Oh, I just stole this from Kylie.
That's true.
But it works for this show. 4 stars. Well, it certainly seems intriguing. I'm going to keep watching, but I see possible pitfalls in the premise. 3 stars. I will give it one more try. There are things I like and things I don't. We'll see which things are allowed to flourish. 2 stars. I only watched part of season 1. Chances are I'm mainly bored, but there are some intriguing or fascinating things that hold it together, no matter how unlikely. But I can't convince myself to keep watching. Or is this 1? Pass on this one, guys. It's a snoozer. It's a snoozer for Selene. Hopefully you don't give it a 1.
Everything's a snoozer for sure.
Alright, so how many stars would you rate it?
I think I would put it at like a 3.5. Just because I do feel, I don't know, like I was watching it and I was like, does this really end terribly? Like, you know, because I haven't read the books,
Right.
and the whole time they keep telling you it's awful and to not get your hopes up. And I'm like, but is that a ruse? Like, it feels like it is, or is it really just going to be depressing? So I'm kind of keeping my guard up, and I'm at a 3.5 because of that.
Okay, interesting.
I'll put myself at a 4, despite the fact that I fall asleep.
Oh.
Seriously, I fall asleep.
Let
watching
me
Game
give
of
you a
Thrones,
list of exciting things Selene has fallen asleep to. I won't, but there's a list.
That's a
Sounds-
different podcast.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's like a top 10 list.
Jen, what would you rate it?
I would also give it a 4. Like I said, really excited for season 2, and I'm also really excited once I can actually start reading the books.
I'm going to say 3.5.
Wow.
I know. I do really like it, but there are some episodes that are better than others. But because I haven't read the book, I don't know if that's just because of the story itself that it's based on, or if that episode just kind of flopped on its own. Yeah, I'm going to say 3.5.
Where's Kylie gonna be?
Kylie's going to give it 3. There are things I like and things I don't, some of which I listed before. I like the whole visual presence of the show. I like that they match the movie. I like the individual actors. I think my favorite one is Patrick Warburton as Lemony Snicket.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy the kids, but I probably like the baby the most.
So does
Sunny.
Vanessa.
Yeah. The person doing the voice of the baby is actually
Tara Strong.
Tara Strong, who voices Harley Quinn.
Yep.
Amongst hundreds of
Other
others.
things, yeah. But in terms of the actual, the individual stories and sort of the unfortunate events themselves, I mean, it's just like the movie in the sense that it is kind of a repetitive thing. They progress, they get to the next Guardian or they get to the next whatever, and that's an episode or 2, and okay, but I just got bored by the end. I do want to see to some extent what happens. I do enjoy NPH a lot, but I'm a little bored. I think I might be a little old for who these events are geared toward. I said it again. I don't mean to say I'm old because I'm not.
You're not.
But
You're not that much older than some of the people on this panel.
No, you would be the next one, I think. No,
Wait,
yeah.
I think we're the same age.
I don't know. We could talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're very similarly aged.
I'm 32. I don't
Me
care
too.
if I say it.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm older than that. And these books just weren't out when I was a kid, so I don't relate to them very well. I'm sorry.
That's okay, I guess.
Okay.
It's your loss.
I really like the humor of this show and the voice of it. I think that's what keeps me watching. I mean, also trying to figure out the puzzle of it all, and I like the technical elements, like you said, but I think the humor is what keeps me entertained throughout. Like, Olive Lemony Snicket's side comments are my favorite.
Yeah, it's always a highlight when he comes on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really like how he's playing him. I mean, he's not really acting, he's just kind of playing Patrick Warburton, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
That's
Why
typical.
people get him. My rating is a 5. I love this show.
Wow.
I've
That's
watched
why
it
you're
twice
moderating.
already. I really enjoy it, and I can't wait to start deep diving and dissecting it. And hopefully, this isn't one of those podcasts that I start liking a show less as we talk about it, which happens from time to time. But right now, I love it. I love the casting. I love just the feel of the show, and I didn't find it repetitive, so maybe we should get right into it. I kind of want to divide the conversation, since it is based on 4 different books, the first 2 episode chunks. So if we want to, just some overall, how did you like the show in general, but let's focus on the bad beginning, where the children find out what happened, that their parents died, and they're going to, how do they word it, the nearest relative?
The closest
living
relative. Which they take as who is the closest to
physically living to you.
As literal closest relative.
So what were people's feelings about this, the first 2-parter?
The very first thought I remember having was, wait, in the books, we literally have not learned that their parents are alive. Like, up till book 5, I had not learned the parents were alive. Whether or not they actually are their parents is questionable, I guess.
I don't think.
Which they call the characters mother and father.
Their
mother and father.
But we find out that that's not their parents during the course of season 1.
Yes, but that was my very first thought.
That was the moment that made me interested in watching it again, because I had kind of started to, like I said, go into my, like, Mr. Poe moment.
Yeah,
and then when we found out that they weren't their parents, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, because they just keep talking about the children, getting home to the children.
Right, and then
they're part of the same
children.
secret society.
And
their character names
not to jump ahead, but the
Oh.
things that were happening in that episode, which we'll talk about, made me think that maybe it still was their parents for a second. And then,
But the thing is they're always showing the photograph with those. I mean, I just
Unless
don't
they're
know
twins.
who else is considered.
Yeah.
I don't know who else is
enough
always
people in that
consistently in.
photo.
there's enough people in that photo.
But I don't know
Nobody
who's
has it yet.
consistently, because they're different photos, though.
See,
they're
they're,
all the
they're
same
playing
photo.
spies, so how do we know that the children... Now, this is... we're not talking about
I'm
the
sorry,
first 2.
but...
That's all right.
How do we know that the children that they find at the end of the last 2 episodes are their actual children?
and not some other...
Though I will mention...
Or maybe they're hypnotized. Because
Maybe-
it happened during the
That's what I'm
hypnotist
talking
episode.
about, but I
That's
didn't want to jump ahead. But yes,
Sorry,
that's
but yes.
what I meant.
I would
that's
like
just-
to... I would like to put a shout out though that Will Arnett and Kobe Smulders
Are
play these
perfect.
2, and they're
Mhm.
awesome.
They're awesome.
Yeah,
I
just
love
they're
them.
great.
Sorry, but that was just the very first thing that threw me for a loop watching the very first episode. I was just like, wait, what?
Yeah, because that's
I was
something
floored.
because it's not in the books. We don't have the little vignettes.
And it's not in the
Oh,
movie
no.
either.
No, this is something new for just the TV show.
Yeah.
Interesting. Like I said, I don't know anything about the books or the original movie, except I do find it interesting that Kathleen O'Hara is in both the movie
She
and
is.
the TV show.
Which I enjoyed quite a lot.
Mm-hmm. I love her.
That was a nice
Yeah.
callback.
I think that the first book is, to me so far, the strongest written. At least because it's the part of the story that I remember the most from the movie, and it really hooked me right away watching the series as well.
Well, I think the movie is really only the first 2 books.
First three.
I thought it was the first 2. They
No,
crammed
3.
3.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
It's-
without reptile, there weren't any reptiles.
Yes, there
in
was.
it.
The character was in it. I looked up like who
Uncle
played
Monty's
who
in
was
it,
I
yes.
found.
Because
Yeah.
it was played by the guy in Muppet Treasure Island who plays... He's the one who dies right away. He's the pirate that starts him off on the...
I don't
Billy
remember
Bones!
that.
He's Billy Bones. Figured it out. Thank you.
Is that the character name?
Character name, yes.
It's not the actor's name.
I
That
don't
doesn't help
remember
anyone?
that one.
I didn't remember either. I
That's
was
not
like, I
my
don't know.
favorite of the Muppets, but also, too, that must have been a very memorable character in the movie then. Because the only ones I remember are Jim Carrey, Meryl Streep, and the kids.
How did we feel about the child actors in the show, since they play such a pivotal part?
First of all, how did they get a twin of the girl who
Emily
played
Browning.
Violet in the movie. Like, they look exactly the same, I swear.
I don't know,
They
but
look
she
very
plays
similar.
young Kara on Supergirl.
What?
Does
Oh,
she?
she does.
I did not know
Yeah, she does.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's all I know.
But yeah, she looks just like her. It's crazy.
Well,
She does.
But I like her better, I think, in the
The
TV
television.
show.
Yeah, I
than
really
did in the movie.
like the three kids.
Mhm.
I
Me too.
really do. Because that is kind of make or break on them. It's
Right.
great to have NPH as like the star power, but if you didn't have three awesome kids, the show wouldn't work.
And that they don't, because even if they were good, they could easily be lost because of. I think the casting in all 8 episodes is phenomenal. Like
Yeah,
they have
all
some
the
powerhouse
guest
actors.
stars who come in as the Guardians are amazing.
Yeah.
So I think I agree with that. It took me a while to get on board with like Sunny's abilities, but then it just kind of was like, okay, I guess this is part of it. This is the universe.
It's definitely
we're in.
part of the books.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
With the super sharp teeth. and-
she's
Super
an-
sharp teeth,
an
always
ingenious
chewy.
Yeah.
lady.
Yeah.
She knows how
A
to play
genius
poker.
baby who is part beaver.
Yeah. Yep.
Or goat. I don't know.
I mean, it's
everything.
really like the only supernatural-esque element of the show, I think. This is a show that I had to not skip the theme song when Netflix tried to force us to skip the theme song. I really loved it.
I love that NPH sings it, first of all, and I'm wondering if he wrote it.
I think he did.
I think he
Did
did.
he?
He's an
Couldn't
executive
find-
producer
yes.
on the show. Too.
And doesn't it change?
It does change.
It does change every 2
Yeah.
episodes.
Okay, every 2 episodes. I was going to
Technically,
say,
every
I've
episode,
noticed it.
it's a little different. So the lyrics change every 2 episodes, but the second episode of each theme song is voiced by the character.
I
Yeah.
heard that. But I
So
don't-
there's a verse that it is him as what's
as the characters
ridiculous
that
name.
he's playing.
Yes.
He does as
the sea
Stefano
captain,
in the Reptile
yeah,
House.
yeah.
I read that in
Captain
the
Salty, or my Captain
well,
Sham.
Captain Shane.
the FAQ stuff on IMDb. I read that, and I don't think I realized it.
Yeah, I didn't either. But
I
I
was
do
like,
like the
wait,
theme
what,
song.
really?
It's catchy.
It is.
Look away.
Vanessa would walk around
Look
singing.
away.
Yeah.
It goes with the show.
It does.
We're not supposed to be watching it, according to Lemony Snicket, which makes me not want to stop watching it.
It's reverse psychology.
I know, we're going against the rules.
So I love the juxtaposition of them telling us not to and how horrible the story is and we shouldn't be watching it. But they're really, even with the horrible things that happen, I feel like the first moment that really feels terrible for me is when Count Olaf actually hits Klaus. I don't, like, obviously it's sad that their parents are dead, but that's the mystery. If you can't get on board that, then you
But
can't
are
watch
they
the
dead?
show.
Are they really?
I don't know.
We know that they're dead.
None of us have read the books, so we
No,
know.
we know that they're dead at
Yeah.
some point because Lemony Snicket keeps writing the letters to Beatrice, which is the kid's mom.
Is it?
Yeah.
We don't know that in the show.
Oh, how do you know that?
I thought they said that in the show.
No.
I don't think they connected Beatrice to Mom.
Okay.
He is writing letters to Beatrice.
Yes.
But we don't know who Beatrice is. Yeah.
Oh,
I think it says it in, like, on Wikipedia if you look up the
maybe.
show.
Maybe that's where I read it. But that's the thing. It's like Lemony Snicket was in love with the kid's mom, which is part of the reason he's telling the story.
Things I did not know.
Spoilers
Yeah.
for all of us.
Hashtag spoiler question mark? Maybe?
Do we know if Gustav is really dead? This is basically the end of part 2.
Remind-
So we
who's
have Jacqueline. In the second episode, we see Jacqueline and Gustav, and Jacqueline is the receptionist that's really undercover, and then she meets up with Gustav a couple of times, and he's watching the kids and making sure they get to Uncle Monty's house.
Because they're the VFD agents.
Yeah, what does that stand for?
Volunteer Fire Department.
Yeah. I know that because of the game I had as a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
The video
I don't think
game.
they say that in the show.
They do.
either.
There's
Really?
a Lemony Snicket video game?
Yes, Denise has it somewhere. We have to find a Windows emulator so we can play it. It was really good.
Celine's like, don't judge me. It was amazing.
It was really good.
Was anyone else creeped out by Count Olaf trying to marry Violet?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I
Made
remember
me
that
wanna
from the
look away.
movie, too.
Yeah, that just kind of, that's a cringe moment.
There's also that moment where it's at the dining room table, and I don't know what Count Olaf does originally, but Klaus tells him not to touch something, and he says, I'll touch whatever I want, and then he, like, grabs Violet. It's really
It's creepy.
disgusting for me.
Yeah, he was especially creepy in the first book, I think. And then after that, he got funnier.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not as
More
creepy, but he's more
ridiculous.
murderous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess ridiculous, yeah.
I feel like he's more threatening even though he's more... I don't feel like he's a murderer at that point in the first book, but he's really creepy with Violet.
I don't ever get the sense that he's not a murderer.
Yeah, because he
their
literally
money.
is
Definitely
waiting.
like a
He's
sociopath.
holding Sunny in the cage and is like just about to
Drop
let
her.
go.
Yeah.
He really wants that money. He'll do anything for that money.
It's a little more than the money, too. It seems like it's revenge, right?
Yeah.
I think if no one has anything else to say about the bad beginning, we can move on to the Reptile Room.
I would just say that a lot of the bad beginning is covered by the movie. So I may actually have been a little bit more bored during those first two than the subsequent ones.
And I mean, in all honesty, I remember more of the movie for the bad beginning than I do the TV show.
And for me, not having any exposure to this world before watching these first 2 episodes, I thought they were really strong, and they really hooked me in, and they were like, yes, I'm going to keep watching this. This is really good.
I have seen the movie. I haven't read the books, but I felt that way about the first 2 episodes, too. That's why I'm saying maybe it's the strongest, I think.
I agree. I think it is the strongest.
Even though, if you've seen the movie, it is repetitive, because that's a lot of what the movie was.
Well, the movie actually spent, majority of the time on the bad beginning, and then the next 2 were a lot more condensed. It's also really interesting, I think a little bit of the point where you talk about getting bored with the series is the fact that we are now spending 2 hours on a book.
Yeah.
When we had the movie cover 3 of them in 2 hours. Like an hour and 40 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
That's
and
part
a
of
lot of it is... I don't necessarily want to say that they could cut things from the TV show in terms of these 2 episodes spent per book, but at times there's definitely a lot more of the lag in there because they're taking the time to focus on the details and have, Lemony Snicket break in and have his colorful interludes. And I wouldn't say it takes away from it, but at the same time it gives it a little bit too much time.
It sounds like, from what I've read, comparing the book to the movie, that the show is also trying to cater more to the people who read the book, so take time with those characters, and to be darker, because I think it was a lighter movie.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey was more Jim Carrey-like in nature, so maybe that could be a little bit more boring for some people.
Well, I mean, Selene might be right. It might be the fact that one book is stretched over 2 hours, but also, if you think about it, the cadence of each pair of episodes is the same. They get shipped off to a new guardian. Count Olaf inserts himself into that arrangement. Bad things happen. Lemony Snicket comments. Somehow the kids save themselves. And there might be hijinks with his troop. That's about it. And then
they're shipped off to somebody else.
And then they're shipped off to somebody else. And
the
the
cycle
TV
continues.
show making the new edition that we get the little bits with the so-called parents, which is different. That's the only difference. So the fact that it follows that same pattern each and every time also makes it repetitive.
But that's the whole point of the books, though,
But
too,
I also,
isn't it?
and I find
So I
it,
probably won't read the books.
Well,
I found them different enough because it's Count Olaf is the villain. Now it's do we trust Count Monty? Not Count Monty.
Uncle Monty.
Uncle Monty. And then by the time we get to the lumber mill, I felt like that. Do you agree that those 2 episodes are the most different from the other ones? Or
I do. Those are my 2 favorite of the 8.
Gotcha.
Well, and in all fairness, coming up next is when they're going to go into the orphanage, so there's not even really
Boarding school.
boarding.
Boarding school.
Yeah,
Eventually
so that
there's an
seems
orphanage.
like maybe it's a different, hopefully, formula.
I
So,
hope
maybe
so.
this is why they cut it into these chunks.
Right.
I'm gonna watch season 2.
Well, and then
3
we-
stars
The
gives
cast,
it one more
the
try.
people that they're slowly adding looks pretty
And
good.
now we're going to start
they're
learning a
following.
lot more about the volunteer fire department. Now is when we're going to start learning a lot more.
Good, because that might be my
about
main complaint, is it doesn't seem
We
like we
don't-
get that
we
far
don't have
into the
enough.
mystery until the last 2 episodes.
Yes, I agree with that.
So that would be my main issue. I guess I'm not ready to move on from the bad beginning. At least, we should at least mention Joan Cusack.
Yes.
I love
Justice.
her.
I
do
want the
love
kids to
her.
live with her, but I think that's the point.
That almost feels
supposed
more
to-
heartbreaking than, not that the kids didn't do a great job at the very beginning of the episode finding out their parents are dead, but that they're so close to at least going to who is the perfect guardian for them and not getting there.
Yeah.
And me not reading it thought, but maybe Joan Cusack will come back, or maybe they'll
Maybe,
eventually
yeah,
end up
it's like,
with her.
can she be the
It's
end
like-
game? But I don't think she is.
I hope they bring her back. She's delightful.
Mhm.
She's always delightful, though, really.
That's true.
But she does such a good job at this.
Other people I really enjoy the troop. a lot more than I thought I was going to coming in. And especially, I think my favorite is the henchman of indeterminable gender.
I love him so much.
Is that from the book? Like, how much is the troop from the book?
The troop is pretty... I don't remember if in the book they call him that, or them that, I should say, because we don't know the gender.
What's the appropriate pronoun for such gender expression?
Yes. So I don't really know if that's what they call them in the book, but I definitely was like, oh, what is this? What is this henchman's name? And that came across the screen and I about died. And I was like, yes!
Which is what comes up if you're listening to it, or watching it with closed captions on. You see that immediately. I did enjoy the troop as well. Did we say all we wanted to about the troop and Joan Cusack? Should we move on to the Reptile Room?
You're the moderator.
So, we know Kylie thought this was repetitive to the...
I liked the Reptile Room.
Okay.
Because I liked Uncle Monty so much.
I love
Yes.
Monty.
Why did he have to die?
And I thought his house was very interesting because he did have the reptiles. And I liked the character that Count Olaf was trying to be in this one. So this would actually be my second favorite couplet of the 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stefano is the name.
Stefano.
Count Olaf uses
His first disguise.
Yes.
So when we're at the Reptile House, I know part of the first 2 episodes, and it's mainly through the character Mr. Poe, which we really haven't talked about too much, which for some reason...
He played Trick on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, yeah.
I knew I recognized him.
Yep.
It's a pretty different character, though, right?
Yeah, he's got acting chops.
He also coughs a lot in this show.
That's true.
I want to
Vanessa's
know
favorite
why.
question.
Yeah, that is Vanessa's favorite question, and I agree with her. Like, why is that part of his character?
I don't get it either. It made sense It only made sense in the first couple of scenes because he had visited the house that had burned down.
Oh, yeah, that's
I don't know if there's ever going to be
Yeah,
a
and I
connection.
kept
Is there
wondering if
deeper
he
that-
was the one who burned it down, kind of, because I was like, did he have, like, smoke inhalation exposure? What's going on? And then, yeah, now it's just been a continued
It's just his tick.
gig. That's what
Oh yeah,
Selene
right up
says
until
for
the last
me in
time we
book.
see him in episode 8. He's still coughing quite a bit. The show gets a little meta, because right when I start thinking, why isn't a banker that is handling all this, they just talk about it like that's what's supposed to be happening. The banker handles where the orphans are going. Makes perfect sense.
show for reading my mind.
So going into the Reptile Room, I started to get almost too annoyed with all the stupid adults. Because
Which I think is intentional.
I do too, especially the moment where I'm like, okay, they know what they're doing, because Uncle Monty, you think, is also just as dumb as Poe and doesn't know that it's Count Olaf, but he does believe the kids right away. I question his, let's just go to a movie and not deal with it head on, but
that's the running theme, I think, of all of the books, is that the kids are smarter than everybody around them.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So I bought it.
Which is
Uncle
probably
Monty's
what appeals
case.
to kids when they
Yeah,
read
when they
the
watch
books.
it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're the
For sure.
heroes.
Yeah.
They're the heroes, Nick.
I understand, it just annoyed me a little tiny bit, but then I got over it pretty quickly.
That's good.
I love that every house they go to has, or they always find, a library. And I love how different each library is, and I love, just so the listener knows, I work at a zoo, so I really love the Reptile Room. The broken-hearted crocodile was just one of my favorite things. What are some of the panel's favorite parts of the Reptile Room?
The incredibly deadly viper.
Yes.
Just the whole idea of it, because keep in mind, like, I'm terrified of snakes, but the fact that they have a snake that's just, like, that pretty much acts like a puppy is kind of funny.
I love it too, but snakes are awesome. The fact that he calls it the incredibly deadly viper, I especially love, because, like I said, I work at a zoo. We have a maned wolf. Not actually a wolf. Red panda. Not a panda. Like, it just...
Yeah,
made me
people
laugh.
seem to... It actually... Yeah. It, like, carries over from real life in, like, a absurd way. I enjoyed that. And I liked his reasoning for it, that he, like, didn't want people to basically, like, steal his discovery. Like, he wanted them to be afraid of it, and so that's why he named it that.
And he was also sick of people making fun of him for being... his name being Montgomery.
I mean, yeah.
How were his parents thinking?
That it was funny.
They weren't. They were on drugs.
Probably. I really liked that episode a lot. Or
Yeah.
the 2 episodes, and I was very sad when he died.
Yeah,
me
he
too.
was one of my favorite.
And it was one of those
Guardians.
things where I remembered about halfway through the episode how he died because of the movie, because he was in that, and then I was like, no, I remember that now.
And then it requires the children to figure out Count Olaf's plot and that Uncle Monty wasn't killed by the snake, the incredibly deadly viper. We do get a really interesting movie that they watch where we start to see more of the mystery that's unfolding.
Yeah, the hidden message going to the movie.
The movie was really weird. I thought I wrote down what it was called, but there were zombies involved and the elves.
There was a ship, wasn't there?
Yeah, I wasn't getting the plot from the movie so much.
Right. Supposed
It wasn't
to
the
be, 'cause they were
hypnotist
secret.
in the forest, was it? I'll watch that later.
Hypnotist in the forest. No, but the characters, Jacqueline and Gustav, or the actors that play those two people, are in that movie. So I think we're supposed to interpret that as their part, as we're getting more of them being part of.
The Secret Society, the
Yeah.
VFD.
The VFD.
There are a couple of funny things throughout, like the Virginia wolf snake. I don't know if they actually kill it or they say they bludgeon it with a typewriter.
I think they said that.
Yeah.
The bludgeoning thing.
It feels like we have a new cast member every 2 episodes. It's generally the caretaker. This time it was Uncle Monty, played by Asif Mandeep, who I thought did an amazing job.
Yeah.
I really mainly just know him from The Daily Show when he was on that.
I don't remember that. But
He was one of the correspondents.
I watched that show, but not religiously, so that's probably why I don't remember.
When Jon Stewart was on it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I've seen him, but I didn't connect
he's
it.
been in a couple movies too lately that have been pretty good.
He did look familiar, so
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks familiar.
Pretty much every time a new person is introduced, I'm like on IMDb. Like, who is this? Why do I know them? Almost. I mean, I know Joan Cusack.
Yeah.
All right, so it sounds like we are done with the Reptile Room. Next is the Wide Window. What stands out in the Wide Window?
I felt like this one was one of the episodes that dragged the most.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Yeah,
I-
sadly.
I think it was the weakest.
would
I
agree
agree with that as well. And almost in a disappointing way because Aunt Josephine was probably my favorite character in the movie. And I love Elfie Woodard. I mean, she's an amazing actress. She does tons of awesome stuff. And I thought, well, that's an inspired bit of casting. But I really felt like there was a disservice to either how she was performing it or how they wrote the screenplay on this, teleplay or whatever on this one. Because the pacing was really poor and I just didn't really connect to the Aunt Josephine character as much as I would have wanted to otherwise.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Meryl Streep's version
I
of her.
did as well.
Didn't realize that's who Meryl Streep played.
Yes. And there
she was wonderful.
She was wonderful. She was charming and engaging and kind of sort of stole the movie from Jim Carrey for a little while.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I felt like her neuroticism there was a better arc there, that more believable and less forced, and I don't like
It connected better. It it flowed. I feel like in this TV show, it was just very like, you can't see the face I'm making listening. I'm really sorry.
But it described it perfectly.
It was a confused face.
It's her thinking face.
There's a disconnect between what is happening and
How she's reacting to it.
Yeah,
Like, sometimes I didn't believe that she was as neurotic as she was playing.
yeah.
And I never felt that way with Meryl Streep in the movie.
yeah.
Which I realize they're separate things and different actors. But that I remember connecting to Aunt Josephine more in the movie.
And for some reason, the seaside town, even though all of the landscapes are kind of gray and gloomy in their own way, the seaside town was particularly depressing.
Yeah, it was.
It was, definitely. But
The lines were very
Lacrimose.
green.
Yeah. Like, I was watching it and I was like, I feel my seasonal effect of just watching these episodes.
Yes.
What is happening? What's the name of that restaurant?
The Anxious Clown.
Anxious Clown. That was probably one of my favorite scenes. Though.
Accurate.
Yeah. That guy and then the henchman in the back
Yeah.
interacting with the actor that played the waiter
I enjoyed
/
those.
owner of that was hilarious.
That and then Captain Shams. Another naval!
But I agree that these two were my least favorite for the same reasons everyone was saying. I felt like, I forgot her name,
Elfie
Woodard.
Woodard.
Yeah, her character, there wasn't an arc. It was very abrupt to where she became fierce and whatever the two words they used to describe how she used to be.
Fierce and fearless or something.
I think that sounds right.
Yeah.
That's about right.
Sounds like a Taylor Swift song.
No.
Yeah, like the moment when she just decides to jump out the window and fake her death was so abrupt for me.
And it was abrupt when she became... Well, yeah, she wanted the kids to just live in the cave forever, too.
Weird.
Yet she was real scared about going across the sea.
I really enjoyed that she has a fear of realtors, though. Like, that was one of my favorite irrational fears I've ever heard of. And that Klaus used it to
Get her
out of the cave.
Yeah.
They can be very pushy.
That's true. I enjoyed her being a stickler for grammar.
Oh, yes. I
And
relate.
That's one of her quirks from the books.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it. And that it played out into the note she
Yeah,
left
the
kids.
fake suicide note that they realized was not written by Aunt Josephine, but written by Count Olaf.
These books don't really
Well,
pull
it
punches.
was dictated by Count Olaf.
Yeah.
But she
Yeah.
wrote it, and that's why she put the grammatical errors in.
Yeah, that was the code to break.
She wrote it on purpose like that.
Yeah.
The books do not. Well, I'm assuming, since these are based on the books, they don't pull punches for kids, though. They like dead parents. Okay, that happens in a lot of kids' books, but now we're talking about suicide and whether or not this character committed suicide. It is something to look away from.
It's a series of unfortunate events, Nick.
Yeah.
I feel like unfortunate is putting it mildly,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
That's for the kids' sake, Kelsey.
And each guardian seems to die a different way.
I think they should change it to like a series of horrific events.
Yeah.
That
But
probably
then
would be
parents
more
don't want their
accurate.
kids to read it. A series of unfortunate events.
Sounds like they can still come back from it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I hope they don't. I don't know. Uncle Monty dying compared to
Josephine?
Aunt
and
Josephine.
Josephine dying. It didn't play as like it was tragic when Uncle Monty died, but it almost was like she might live again, or maybe because of the arc, it wasn't as I want to say big a deal.
You weren't
to me,
as
but-
emotionally invested in Aunt Josephine.
Anticlimactic.
Yeah, that's how I felt about it.
I will have to say that I was quite terrified of those leeches. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, for a kids show, those were quite disturbing.
They were like the shrieking eels
I was
and the
just gonna
Princess
say
Bride.
that. Except the shrieking eels did not eat through wood.
That's true.
And they didn't just kind of come up and just...
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
That was
They were
its
little
own brand of terror.
Demogorgons, too.
Exactly. Exactly.
Reference to
Like
future podcast.
Demogorgons and like they kind of reminded me of those little. They reminded me of the little dinosaurs in Jurassic Park that
The
had
pre-concept. Oh no.
Yeah,
what are
they
those?
did.
With the fin things.
The
Except
ones that
Brontosaurus.
ate Newman.
that ate Newman. Yes. What was his real name in that movie?
Nedry.
Yes, that guy.
Dennis Nedry.
Yeah.
You didn't say the magic word. I like
Anyway,
Let's go faster.
this is a movie, guys. We're supposed to be talking about TV.
It's a movie based on a book. That's a parallel.
Yeah, it
Good
relates.
podcast.
Okay, then let's shift to the Misrable Mill. The last 2 episodes and Kylie's favorite.
Yes, because I felt like there were more stakes, and I felt like there were more intriguing pieces of the mystery sprinkled in all throughout the 2 hours, as opposed to even just the end.
Yeah.
And I was more engaged during these 2 hours than I was during the 6 previously. Just
Now-
because of that.
Just out of curiosity, how much of that do you think is because that's not in the movie? And that's completely new territory for you?
Well, a lot of the wide window wasn't in the movie. I mean, Aunt Josephine was, and some of it was. But I don't know if it was because it was brand new as much as the pieces of the mystery that happened.
You definitely get more into the mystery.
Yeah.
You get
well,
more
and
characters, too.
that repetition is broken because they're not really going to another caregiver. They've
Right.
run away and they've ended up somewhere else.
There's
the,
that.
The closest equivalent of the caregiver is Sir and Charles and their dynamic, but
I love
you have all
the
the mill workers too.
Plus Klaus going under that spell that the eye doctor.
hypnotism.
Yeah.
Captain O'Hara.
Yeah, Catherine O'Hara.
I love the running joke of the two are not mutually exclusive in that book. That was my favorite. because they were saying, we're not trespassers, we're children. The two are not mutually exclusive. And then they were talking about the partners and...
Equal.
Oh, yeah.
Equal.
Partners being equal.
Oh, that's right. There was a little bit of subtext.
And there was, well, that, and they also at one point said something about, they brought that back. About
Plus,
it
one
not
of the
being
partners
mutually
was
exclusive.
played by Don Johnson.
Yeah. The other was Reese Darby.
That's true, but it was the Don Johnson half was funnier because he's always played macho guys, and there was, ambiguous stuff going on.
I don't think they were being very ambiguous.
Yeah, I didn't either.
No.
But they were trying to play it like the ambiguously gay duo, though, on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, a little.
Yeah.
Well, except that was not ambiguous.
No, that's the joke.
But this was more ambiguous than that, I think.
Kelsey, this is too much.
Listen, they were cartwheeling and grabbing each other's belts with their mouth, is all I'm saying.
That's true.
So,
There's limits. This isn't animation.
That's true. I did like his comment about how he had to smoke a cigar because he was the boss.
Yeah.
I give up these, but I can't because I'm the boss.
I hate them. And I liked the twist about all of the mill workers being hypnotized.
Yeah.
Because
Working for gum.
at first you just kind of thought,
And
they're
coupons.
stupid. Yeah, and coupons. At first you just thought they were all stupid adults because there's so many stupid adults, and then you find out, also they're hypnotized. That makes more
I
sense.
just would like to point out the one plot hole of the fact that how many times did the kids bring up the fire their parents started and they didn't get unhypnotized?
Well, but I think they were talking amongst themselves. I don't think they ever said it loud. Maybe it was supposed to be aside, and they didn't say it.
I would like to go back
But I
and
did.
rewatch those 2 episodes.
I would
and
like
see
to
if they
as
say
well.
fire to any of them.
Not fall asleep. Yes, those are the ones she fell asleep to.
I fell asleep during the last episode
Maybe
of
you were
Wide
getting
Window and the
hypnotized.
first one was
Okay,
Misrable
sorry.
Mill,
Yes, wide
okay?
window and sorry. Yeah, so I had to watch those twice, which was fine. I think that they were saying fire. I think they were talking about the fire amongst themselves. I don't think. Well, logically, they might have overheard it, and been unhypnotized. They weren't speaking directly to them, and I think that we were supposed to not think that they were eavesdropping and heard it. I don't know.
Okay.
I do have to
I
go
don't
back and watch
recall
it.
enough.
I mean,
I didn't notice it.
What's his name? Bob, the guy, who
The
broke
Optimist?
his-
I
the
don't
Optimist,
remember.
Optimist Phil.
Phil.
I would believe he wasn't hearing anything unless.
Phil and his crushed leg.
His flat circle shin.
Like cartoon.
That
If there
reminded
was-
me of Who Framed Roger Rabbit or something.
Yes.
I was like, what's happening? Why
Yes.
is this?
If there was a plot hole, though, like that kind of continuity, I feel like I would have noticed it.
Kylie thinks very highly of her ability to observe things.
That is my number one thing, Nick. I have established this on this podcast before. Not this particular episode, but the podcast.
I've never noticed.
Typical.
So I love how they play with the word optimist and optometrist a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
times, but the whole show, which I'm assuming comes from the books, plays a lot with words, and in a fun way. It's usually a joke when they tell you the definition of a word, or the frustration of kids saying, "We know what that means."
Right. Yeah.
Like the word inordinate.
Inordinate. Yeah.
They're like, why would a kid know that word?
And that goes into not only the adults being dumber than the kids, but the adults just assuming the kids.
That the kids are dumb.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're not. Even the baby's a genius. So, in my life, I never talk about Catherine O'Hara enough, so let's talk about her right now.
She's got red hair. I just want to point that out.
Okay, so there's a common theme. If you listen to multiple podcasts,
Nick has a thing for women with red hair.
Gingers.
I understand. I relate.
I don't have red hair, in case you're curious.
You do right now.
Oh yeah, I dyed.
But you're right. Not naturally.
That was a great conversation.
Anyway.
Catherine O'Hara.
yeah,
Ginger.
Pros and cons.
she's my
There's
favorite.
no cons.
There are no cons. Short list. Only pros.
Why did they have to kill her?
Because she was
she's
In a very
little.
sweet
But in a
Todd
very
like manner.
It was so Mrs. Lovett.
It
Yeah.
was very Sweeney Todd.
I called
agree.
it before it happened. Not having read, well, I mean, I did
You
read
did
the
read
books,
the book.
but I was,
So
it
you
wasn't
remembered
even
it
like
before
that.
it
I was
happened?
just like, oh look, hey, Mrs. Lovett's happening right here.
She did say that. I was there.
So that is how she dies in the book.
I don't remember. I don't remember
It's a
how
city
she
on
dies.
fire.
City on fire.
Whoa.
So
Can you tell they're musical theater people?
We're all music theater people.
Yeah.
I say that.
Are you not a musical theater person?
Obviously, I made the reference as the irony. Keep moving, Nick.
That's one of Kylie's dream roles.
It is one of my dream roles. Aww.
So we also have another Count Olaf disguise.
Yes.
My favorite to date. To date, it's my favorite.
Because he's a woman?
Yes.
Shirley Saint.
Yes.
No, I meant
She's
just
like,
like,
oh,
he
yeah,
hasn't
he's
played
hot.
a movie. He hasn't played a woman yet.
Shirley St. Ives, I believe. So this is your favorite of the...
Yes.
I guess only 3 disguises.
It's my favorite of the 3 disguises, too.
And the fact that, she's like, you have lipstick on your teeth. I know, it's part of the character.
So do we think that Count Olaf is a good actor? Because of all these disguises?
He's very good at
It fools everyone but the kids.
disguising himself, I guess. I mean,
He's a good at being an actor when he's trying to con somebody, not when he's actually on the stage.
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
Okay.
Who was your favorite Count Olaf disguise, Kylie?
I like Stefano. Well,
That's the bald one in the Reptile
Yeah.
Room.
I liked the sea captain least.
Captain Sham.
Shirley would be my second favorite. Only because I thought that the rapport with Catherine O'Hara could have been better.
Oh,
So,
oh no.
I'm the party pooper. Duh. We established this.
So it sounds like Selene only knows the next book after this. Does anyone have any speculations as to what's going now, or next, or the mystery?
They're gonna meet the other siblings at the boarding school.
yeah, they've pretty much set that up.
They've
So-
set that up.
Will Arnett and Kobe Smolder's characters, their actual children?
Maybe.
That we
Possibly.
assume.
So that's
If they haven't been hypnotized.
Yeah, I don't believe that
Because-
they're their actual children.
I mean, it's that same door. It was that same gilded, special-looking door. For all we know, they legitimately ended up there and somehow got hypnotized before they had a chance to do anything.
Right.
So who are you saying is hypnotized in that situation?
The mother and
The
father.
mother and father.
To thinking that that's their children.
Yes. But then, did they just die in this fire?
That's what I thought.
Which fire?
Yeah.
The
what?
one
they
that
just
left
had
the
at
new
end,
kids
that left the new kids.
as orphans at the new boarding school. If they
Did
are
you see
orphans
that
or not.
fire?
Yeah.
They
we
set
did.
the house on fire, or a house on fire, that had, with the picture with the kids.
The picture with the kids and the mother and father were in it. They used like a
Watched
laser to
this
set it
twice
on
and I
fire.
don't remember.
We have the bonus of having watched it.
We just watched it
Oh.
last night. But yeah, they did. There was a fire, and
Is it before or after the song?
before.
Before, yeah.
Huh.
Because they sit down in the seats. The kids sit down in the seats, and behind them is that next set of kids.
Yeah, on the other side.
And they both had the little piece to the spyglass.
I remember the pieces to the spyglass.
And
I
they're
don't
both
remember the
looking.
fire. I don't know why.
Yeah, it was right before that. Pretty soon before that.
Interesting.
I don't think anybody's parents died in any fire. That's what I'm going with.
Now I'm second guessing what I
And
think.
what's the correlation with the mill, City Paltryville, having been caught on fire?
There's a lot of fire.
Well, they're a
there's a-
volunteer fire department.
Right, and
Right.
Dr. Orwell burns alive. It starts with a fire. There's fires all over the place.
Yeah.
I think there's a common arsonist, and it's probably Kamala.
Yeah,
That's-
that doesn't seem like a mystery.
No.
And why did he get the eye tattooed on his ankle?
Well,
Because
I-
that's her thing, right?
Well,
Or
no.
No.
No, because they tell you in the Miserable Mill that... Sorry.
I'm wrong, guys.
They tell you in the Miserable Mill that didn't used to be an optometrist's office. It belonged to someone else, and then they get interrupted.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
that's
that's
not
true.
a part of the mill, that's something... And then they get
Interesting.
interrupted, and
I
she took
remember
over
that.
that building.
Yeah.
Mhm.
okay, I forgot that.
But
So-
are you talking about the tattoo that Count Olaf has?
Yeah,
the
which
eye.
is the
That's in the
eye
spyglass
that's in
and-
the spyglass,
Yeah,
and it's
that-
on the... Yeah, I want to know why.
But the Count Olaf is in. Isn't
The
he? Isn't
society.
he,
He
one
used
of
to
the?
be.
Yes, he's in
He
those
used to be.
pictures.
But do the rest of them have the tattoo? Because no one else has shown it.
Nobody else has shown it that I
Yeah,
remember.
nobody has.
And his
Does
big
somebody
thing is
sneak
he
and
keeps
show
having
it?
to hide it. So
The society is what's called VFD.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they mentioned that.
He's
in
the
show.
only
They do.
one that shows that.
They do mention it in the show.
Okay.
There's a lot of details.
There
man.
is a lot of details in the show when I
Maybe
rewatched
I'll like
it.
the second season better if they go through all these details.
Yeah, I don't think that when they made the show they were like, we're making a show for kids at all. Like,
No, there's definitely
No.
a
or they're
possible-
making it for kids who are as smart as the Baudelaire children.
Oh, so fun fact, while we're talking about the tattoo, NPH actually went and got it tattooed for real.
Oh, really?
On his ankle after they finished filming is kind of a way to commemorate it and to just have it. Yeah, he did it. It's real.
That's cool.
I find it interesting that they renewed season 2 and then it took a month later to be like, okay, I guess we should finish the whole season.
Yeah, that was interesting.
It might have been a convincing thing. It might have been, we need this month of whatever to build up enough hype to convince somebody.
Or that let's break it into 3 seasons and not just finish the books.
Yeah, that's what I think
Like
probably
a longer
happened
season.
is let's give it more quality and let's break it up.
Well, plus I don't think this is a series that's driving their subscription numbers, but yeah, it's probably what's going to be most cost effective for Netflix to make it. There is quite a lot of production value.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
Well, and they're getting some fairly big names to do it, too. So
So they got to be throwing
gotta-
some money at them.
Yeah, there isn't a common set.
And I would think to contract the kids for that many seasons, they'd have to pay probably a good amount, too.
Well, and they would probably have to shoot them relatively quickly, too, before they age out.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they say during the course of however many books the children ate, I think they each have 1 birthday, so it could be as much as 2 years, but it's probably less than the span of 2 years.
I think they might be filming season 2 right now, but I'm not sure.
I think they already
They-
filmed
they-
season 2. I think they're filming season 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, season 2 is supposed to come out in 2018. I think
It'll
they said
probably,
early
it'll be
2018.
January.
You think January?
They
Wasn't that
haven't
so
announced
close?
it yet.
They haven't yet, but it's only mid-November at the time of this recording. We
It
know
is,
we know
but-
it's coming early 2018. I would be surprised if they did it close to when it premiered last time.
It was in March last time. Right?
Was it March
No.
or was it January?
I don't remember.
I thought you said January earlier.
January 13th.
Friday the 13th, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know it was
Because
Friday
there's
the
a
13th.
whole there's a whole correlation with the number 13 in this book. That was in the facts about it on IMDb.
There are 12 books?
13.
There's 13.
There's
There's
13
13
books. Every book has
books.
13 chapters.
It premiered on Friday the 13th.
Yeah, it's a running. It's a.
I think
theme.
the book was released on Friday the 13th.
So when's
They
the
have a
next
lot of
Friday the
13.
13th? Because Netflix drops their seasons on Fridays.
Oh.
Oh, I don't know.
Hey, I will go to the calendar. Keep
right.
talking, and I'll figure it out.
January through March, there's no Friday the 13th.
April has a Friday the 13th.
I bet you $10. It's
That
coming out on
is the
April
first
13th.
Friday the 13th.
All right, that's a prediction.
Yep,
you
that's
heard
my
it here
prediction.
first, folks. So we're talking about the next seasons. It sounds like everyone's going to watch. Is anyone here only going to keep watching to continue to be on this podcast?
Kylie. Excuse me.
I mean,
Because you could just sit in silence if you want next time.
She could bring a book
that's
to read.
rude, Nick. I'm going to totally take the Mickey out every time now.
Take the Mickey out.
That means give you a hard time.
Is that old timey?
It's
or is that
old-timey.
Okay. I didn't know if it was the
Where's
country.
Sarah when I need her?
That's old people speak.
To answer your question,
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Nick,
I forgot I was moderating.
and that I'm not old, Kelsey.
No, it was a joke.
I want to watch season 2. I do want to watch season 2, not just because I'm on the podcast, mainly because of how season 1 ended. I'm hoping that the things that I didn't like about season 1 will kind of be ironed out when we get into season 2.
The 2 little issues that I had, one of them we had the same, that it sounds like it will be kind of a different structure going forward.
Which would be good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he can't kill everybody in charge of the boarding school, right? So there's got to be another reason that, unless he burns it down, which is possible.
He might.
Which is possible.
He has the track record.
Yeah, he's
He's
got
a
a lot
pyro.
of crimes.
Seriously, he's going away for life.
At
If
least.
they ever catch him.
Yeah.
What do you
Shall we go
think?
to
What
the
do you think Count Olaf's next disguise will be?
A
Question
teacher
mark.
at the school.
A teacher. Oh yeah.
Or the principal.
Or the school nurse.
Or a janitor.
The drama teacher.
Probably.
I feel like it'd be funny if he was the gym teacher. Just because that seems like completely like polar opposite of like art and theater.
That's true.
What if Count Olaf is a disguise?
Then I would actually legitimately say, Count Olaf, you were a pretty good actor.
Right.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Because if he's Joe and he's pretending to be Count Olaf, who then pretends to be all these other people. That's like
That's
like
so
that's,
meta.
that's
Deep
like
character
Inception,
work.
and it's,
I was gonna say actorception.
actorception. I like that.
Characterception.
Yeah.
The show is meta. He does look right into the camera at one point.
Oh yeah, there's total fourth wall breaking.
I wonder why there's a revenge thing with the parents.
With the
Maybe they
Baudelaire
kicked him
parents.
out of the VFD. Maybe the
them
Baudelaire
specifically?
parents are the reason. Yeah, maybe that's why they kicked him out, because of his, tendency to start fires.
Or maybe they're just the most conveniently close to him.
They were
that
the
he
closest
can
living
go to.
relatives.
And they have all the money.
They have all the money.
And the money. I mean, not that any of the other members seem to be lacking. I mean, Aunt Josephine didn't seem to have the most money, but, she used to be a part of the VFD.
Are all of these people actually related to them?
I don't know.
No, they're just close friends of the parents. Or
Because they say
But they
closest
still-
relative.
Yeah,
But
that they still,
approximately close, not familially.
but they
close.
said that Uncle Monty is the one that they were supposed to go to.
Yes.
That the Baudelaire's parents wanted them to go to.
I think he mentions he's some sort of fifth cousin.
Okay,
or
because
something.
that's what I'm wondering is because they say uncle and aunt and all
Yeah.
stuff, which is kind of funny that they don't call him Uncle Olaf ever. Like he's always referred to as Count Olaf. But I'm wondering if there's an actual blood relation to all of these people, or if it's
I
like
think
an
they're all just
honorary
VFD
title.
members that are really close to their parents.
But then the bank thinks they're related, though, because
Well,
it
the
says
bank's
relative.
not doing a really good
Yeah, I would-
That
I
bank's
would-
stupid.
Yeah.
What about Mr. Poe's journalistic wife?
He didn't mention
I
the
do
whole
love
family
her.
at all.
She was funny.
Yeah.
She's sassy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like her.
So are her kids.
I don't remember the kids.
They were
Edgar?
the first two.
Oh, I don't remember
They
them.
didn't like
With-
the interloping children
Right.
very much.
Oh, yeah. I vaguely remember that. Because they went to their house at one time, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
One might be named Alan, or one of them is Edgar Allan Poe. They do
I think
do
it's
reference
Edgar
to
and
that.
Allen, yeah.
That's hilarious.
One of the reasons I wanted to read the book is there are references to other books throughout. Even the Briny Beach is from Through the Looking Glass, and like I said, they mentioned Virginia Woolf. Like these books, while they're written for kids, it's smart because parents can enjoy them as well. So I'll probably read them to my kids once they're a little older and understand more of what I'm saying when I talk. Is there anything else that you want to talk about, or anything we didn't mention about the show? I feel like that means we're done.
I guess so.
Are we done?
We kind of covered everything.
Did cover a lot. Been recording for well over an hour and 15 minutes, Kylie, if that's what you're checking.
That's not what I'm checking.
You're gonna read that thing?
I was going to read this thing.
She has her closing statement.
I have
Good,
my
'cause I don't
closing
have a
statement.
closer.
I know. So the closing statement goes like this. CPU is produced by Backpocket Productions, run by yours truly, the Chief Couch Potato, and hails from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Please, if you like what you hear, please do take the time to rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or Google Play, which means give us stars, give us comments, give us reviews. Tell us good, tell us bad. We need to know, because that's how we can aim to change our programming to please you. If you have suggestions on shows we might consider, contact us at our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, by email at couchpotatoesunitepodcast@gmail.com, or via Facebook and Twitter. Though, of course, we add new and old shows to chat about around the water cooler all the time. As always, we have several more new episodes coming down the pike, and all are available to search via the web, via our website, via our social media, because we are everywhere. Subscribe to the blog, any of that stuff, and stay up on new events and episodes. You can catch up on Lemony Snicket's Unfortunate Events on Netflix. It is Netflix produced original content, so that's legally where you can get it. Don't tell me about the other stuff. And as Nick has mentioned, it has been renewed for a second season, but a release date has not yet been announced as of the time of this recording, though as you heard it here first, we predicted April 13. This panel will reconvene following the release of Season 2. Until that time, until next time, and until next episode, new episodes every Wednesday. Keep listening, keep watching, stay tuned!
Bye-bye.